In October 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, federal troops advanced into Asaba, a town on the western bank of the river Niger. Asaba was not officially part of Biafra, but its people were predominantly Igbo, and in the context of the war, that identity became a target. Following the retreat of Biafran forces across the Niger Bridge, federal troops entered the town. What followed was not a single incident, but a series of coordinated and uncoordinated acts of violence that unfolded over days. According to eyewitness testimony, soldiers moved through the town, entering homes and killing civilians without clear distinction. Felicia Wandu, who was present in Asaba at the time, described the moment. She says, "A lot of massacre without us doing anything to them. Her father's house was burnt. Her uncle was killed." She recounts that people were attacked even during ordinary gatherings. She says, even people in the village where they are holding their family meetings, they came there, they killed them, and nobody escaped. These were not isolated encounters. They happened across multiple locations in the town. On Saturday, October 7, many hundreds of people gathered, believing that a public show of loyalty will calm the situation. They came out from 5 quarters of Asaba. They wore akwacha, white ceremonial attire, and they moved along Unebisi Road in a procession. They were singing, dancing, and chanting "One Nigeria." This was not forced. It was a decision driven by hope and a lack of awareness of what was coming. They thought that when they go to receive them, it will be a public show of support for the Nigerian government and would calm the situation. They did not know that their intention was to kill them. At the point where the procession reached Obeosowa, troops stopped the group and began separating them. Women and young children were taken to the nearby maternity hospital, and the men and older boys were held back. Then, soldiers opened fire. Machine guns were used. At Obeosowa alone, approximately 700 people were killed. Many were buried in mass graves at the site. There were no individual burials, no death certificates, no official accounting. The list of victims exists, but many names were never recorded. And the killings extended beyond that square. Across Asaba, additional executions took place. Total estimates place the death toll at well over 1,000 people. Eyewitness accounts describe multiple methods used. Some victims were shot in groups. Others were forced towards pits dug by machinery. In other cases, victims were shot and left where they fell. Some were buried in mass graves without identification. Others were taken toward the river Niger and killed there. The violence disproportionately targeted males. When they see that you're a boy, they shot you. And this led to survival strategies. Young boys disguised themselves as girls. Families fled into the bush. There are also accounts of women being forcibly taken by the soldiers. When they see that you are younger, they will take you as their wife. If you resist, you are killed. These violence did not end in October 1967. There was a second phase in 1968, and this time it was to clear the entire Asaba. They returned and continued their killings. Homes were destroyed, entire properties were burned. A survivor described how terrible the situation was, such that they had to flee with nothing. They had to tie bags because there was nothing to cover themselves. Life after the massacre was defined by hardship. Food was scarce. They ate rats, lizards, and there was no money. Even basic items like salt was rare. Families struggled to rebuild. Education was disrupted. Many children could not go to school. Decades later, the impact still remains. A lot of people are still suffering. For years, these events in Asaba were not formally acknowledged at the national level. But within the community, remembrance continued. Masses were held at burial sites. Families returned to mass graves to mourn those they could not bury properly. But this is not just history. It is memory, identity, and truth carried through generation. The Asaba Massacre remains a vital part of our collective heritage, one that must be preserved, remembered, and passed on, because when the people forget, they don't just lose the past, they lose a part of themselves. To tell this story is to protect it, and to protect it is to ensure it is never erased. Follow us for more stories that must never be forgotten.